Did I connect this thing? Let me test how it actually sounds with my headphones on. Hold on. Testing. It looks right. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back and welcome to my album review of Supertramp's Crime of the Century, released in 1974. You guys have been waiting for this review. Finally happy to bring it to you. And of course, if you're on this review and you haven't watched any of my first listens of any of the songs on here, it'll be in a playlist alongside of this review. And if you're interested, you can go ahead and listen to my first and initial reactions to each of the songs on the album. My one word, if I had to describe it, what I feel about this album is
impressed.
Okay? This album impressed me because I've heard of Supertramp before. I've heard the Logical song, Give a Little Bit, and that was pretty much my vision of what Supertramp was. But just by listening to this album, it really expanded that vision and really expanded my idea of the album and of who Supertramp really are. Besides the sense of magnitude and drama that's inserted into the music, the pure emotion that the music makes you feel, one of the most powerful things in this whole album is the words themselves. The lyrics are honest, they are true, they are emotional, they are passionate, and they're also an honest look at depression, isolation, and mental health. The album flirts with poppy melodies and it's extremely catchy. And I'll be honest, I don't like everything that I heard. I don't like everything that was catchy, but I can't deny its catchiness. And not only with the pop sensibilities that they have in the album, but the progressive pop sensibilities that they have in the album. The progressive rock edge that they have. The flair that they throw in, the orchestration, the piano. Oh my god, the piano. There's a lot going on in this album, but it is 100% well structured, well constructed. I think that on a critical level, this is an album that will stand out for years and years and years, as it already has, but even more to follow. Every song is like a mini musical, a mini epic, carrying its own self-contained message, while at the same time still adding to the overall message of the rest of the album. And the grander moments are placated and contrasted by quieter moments and build up in space. It really is a really nice organization of sound. The album begins with the first track, School, which begins with a very solemn and lonely harmonica, big ambient spaces that just build around it and begin to swirl. And then it all just begins to kind of slowly gather steam before it gets into the main groove, before that first drop happens after the scream, which I love the scream inserted there, by the way. But that groove that it just jumps into after that, bum, 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 to go to school. It's just really good. And that's what I mean. Like, it has that catchiness that you would find in pop music, but at the same time, it's extremely progressive. The energetic charge that comes out after that buildup is just insatiable. The lyrics are, once again, fantastic, and I'm gonna not try to stay on the lyrics too much because I feel that that can apply to the whole album, but lyrically, it's a very powerful song as well. Very convincing and strong vocal performances in this one. And listen, the piano. You guys know that I'm going to mention it, but the piano that just charges its way, this brilliant solo that leads the musical charge, is just otherworldly. Okay, that piano is crazy. After this song, which by the way, that captivated me, like as soon as I heard that song, I knew I was listening to a different kind of album, right? After that song is Bloody Well Right, which once again, it's incredibly catchy. We get some smooth, jazzy piano chords that open up the track and kind of put you in this really nice, relaxed state. We got a nice saxophone that comes in and just kind of pushes it over the edge. And then at the same time, it breaks into this groove with these hard riffs, layers and layers and layers of sweet guitar that just ride throughout the song. And as much as I like the instrumental part of this, I gotta admit, I really don't like right, your bloody well right, you got a bloody right to say. I'm not trying to make fun of them. Listen, some of the vocals I love in this album. Some of them like that, it just wasn't working for me. But then we get into Hide in Your Shell, which once again we get some amazing saxophone in this song. And Hide in Your Shell is probably the strongest song lyrically. I think that is one of the ones that really just like sings to me, and like I think will sing to a lot of people. And the chorus in this song is also very moving and very impactful as well. And then it moves into one of the slightly bigger epics in the album, which is Asylum. Now, Asylum, all the other songs are like mini epics. They're all their little self-contained odysseys. But this one is something else. It's a very soulful plea for help, carried by very, very, very strong melodies and groove, especially as it moves into the bigger moments of the song. And the bridge features what I would say are some of the best vocals and the best vocal performances that I've heard on this album and from Supertramp thus far. It's filled with drama, it's filled with passion. It has just a little bit of a touch of madness to it. I love the way that he's screaming in the Asylum. It's an impassioned performance, accented and made even more powerful by the guitar that builds up throughout. Dreamer is a song that, from what I read online, it was one of their singles, got some radio attention, and you know what? I don't know if I like that. I don't mind being on the radio. I just don't know if I like that song that much. I don't know. I don't like the vocals pretty much at all in Dreamer. For me, it just comes across a little grating. It's a little weak to me. It's a little annoying. I really don't like the way he sings, Dreamer, can you put your hands in your head? I'm sorry. I really don't like the vocals in it. Musically, especially the build-up, once again, building up tension, releasing tension, instrumentally and musically, I think that this is a fantastic song. And as much as I like the build-up in the instruments, I don't really feel like it goes anywhere with it. All the other songs have this kind of climax, a little bit of a resolution, even within themselves. For example, the song we just came off of, Asylum, it has a big, big resolution. So I understand maybe the song right after you may not want to do as much, but at the same time, I wish there was a little more in this one. Now, fortunately, it's not so long that I'm let down, because we get into one of the best songs, and arguably the best song in the album, with Rudy. Rudy is just a locomotive filled with energy. From the beginning, listen to that drum groove. Listen to the whole rhythm section of it. It's a locomotive that continues to pick up steam and pick up momentum, and it's a brilliant balance of space, ambience, tone, edge, and a little bit of atmosphere. And once again, we get some really strong and powerful and emotive vocals that are mixed with a lot of atmospheric saxophone alongside it, the funk guitar that comes in, and one of my favorite things in this song is the call and response going on, a conversation between the two singers that takes place and just draws out the emotions of this one. And these vocal lines are eventually backed up by this grandiose scheme of orchestration. This arrangement kind of turns this into a rock opera, which I guess you could almost argue for the rest of the album. It does feel like a rock opera, a rock musical in some ways. Rudy is just one of those songs that I feel will get lodged in your head, and you're happy that it's there. It's a good earworm, you know? If Everyone Was Listening is one of those songs that you need after a locomotive like Rudy, this is that quiet, softer ballad. At least it starts off that way, before eventually kind of building itself into more of a power ballad, almost, not quite power ballad, because I don't want it to come across that way. It's not cheesy in a way a power ballad sometimes will be, but it builds up into this nice soft opening that definitely lends itself great to the song, definitely and primarily to the album, but especially into what we're going to get next. Crime of the Century is one of those key highlights of the album, and you guys know that. And it's funny because I'm glad that I did the album the way that I did, in order, as, an album listen should be. Because it's one of those songs that I feel if I didn't listen to the rest of the album, that it would still be powerful and it would still be amazing, but it's kind of like eating dessert and then going back and eating some spaghetti. I don't know why I chose spaghetti. Well, it's like going and eating your cake and then going back and eating your steak. You can do it and you're still going to enjoy both meals, but the order is just not right. Especially as an album listen, as the closer to this album, Crime of the Century is of magnitudes and of leagues above what so many other bands try to accomplish when closing out the album. It is build up, climax, resolution, repeat. Just over and over and over And I've watched a few live videos specifically of this song. I've watched some of the others, but this song is a crowd pleaser. This one is that beautiful wrap up to the rest of the album. And I love the soaring guitar that comes in, especially in the first half of the song. And then I like how after that initial climax is brought back down, we get that almost darkish, close out-ish, that's not even a word, piano that just begins that melody. Bum, 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 bum. And then from there, it just ramps itself up. And it's really amazing to watch them do it live. But it's like when you hear that piano, you know the end is coming. It's going to be a good end. It's going to be a fantastic end. But you know it's coming. And the way that it builds itself is beautiful, a little dark, a little menacing, but it's this beautiful release that you feel as well, especially when the drums and the orchestration begins within it. It's a gripping piano piece that just erupts. It's emotional, like I said, the symphonic elements that are brought in throughout the whole album, but especially in this song, really just make it something that's very investing. We got saxophone that just pushes it. Like instrumentally, this album is seamless, perfect, without stitch, without mess up, without error. It's been proofread. This is a final draft that will get an A+ in class. This was just a little quick, final thoughts on each of the songs. And like I said, I don't love every single song, but I do feel that as an album, it's extremely strong. It's impossible to me to look at it critically and fault it. Now, let's get to my favorite moments, my favorite lyrics, my song rankings, all of that fun stuff. I'm gonna make a little noise and just bring that over here so I can put some graphics over on the screen for you. My favorite moment on the album, and I'm sure some of you guys can see this coming, it's actually the piano break in school, okay? If you want to look it up, it's from about 3:15 onwards, okay? The way that the piano just erupts and carries that groove and melody throughout the rest of the song, it is really the first powerful moments that you hear on the album. And I feel like from that point forward, you kind of know what to expect. Like, you're getting into some good stuff. My favorite lyrics on the album, because I had to go and grab my paper, are from Dreamer, actually. A song that vocally I don't really like. But I told you, lyrically, this album hits. Well, work it out someday. If I could see something, you can see anything you want, boy. If I could be someone, you can be anyone. Celebrate, boy. Well, if I could do something, you can do something. If I could do anything, can you do something out of this world? I like this back and forth that's kind of going on in the lyrics. Sometimes you are your own worst critic. A lot of times, you're your own worst critic, okay? When I look back on this video while I'm editing, I'm gonna be like, whoa, why did I say that? But as much as you may put yourself down, you can also build yourself up. You can also encourage, inspire, and motivate yourself. So all of the times that you may look down, try and look up. All of the times that things may put you down, even if it's yourself, build yourself back up. Find inner inspiration. And if you can't find the inspiration inside, look for it outside. And I just brought this up really quick because it made me think of something. But there's a very powerful quote that I feel from Helen Keller. And she said, "Keep your face to the sunshine and you cannot see a shadow." So there is a shadow. There are going to be dark times in your life, but keep your face forward. Keep your face to the sunshine in the light and find your warmth and your inspiration there. And then finally, my song rankings for the album. School, number 1. Rudy, Crime of the Century, Asylum, Hide in Your Shell, If Everyone Was Listening, Dreamer, Bloody Well Right. Now, before some of you yell at me, the first 5 in this album, to me, are like top notch, near perfect, top grade. Like, those were hard to kind of order because I feel like those are all just really great songs. Something that Roger Hodgson had said when he was interviewed about this album, they said, "What do you think it was about Supertramp that made it iconic?" And Roger Hodgson said, "I think it's the fact that they were great songs, and I think that the lyrics had some incredible depth and were very personal, and were really relatable to a lot of people around the world. So that's kind of what I mean about the lyrics themselves, the message in this album, which is my main takeaway, besides the just gorgeous instrumentation that goes around, is the message in this album has depth, has reachability, has momentum. And I feel like a lot of people, sorry, my papers just fell. I feel like a lot of people can relate to the lyrics. I can relate to these lyrics, you know, in different capacities, on different levels, but I feel like it's very human. So my final thoughts on the album are pretty much this. Like I said, the lyrics and the message are a main takeaway and standout thing to me. I'm not always a fan of the vocals in some of the songs, but this comes down to personal preference, you know? For example, I think that a lot of the music here sounds kind of musical-ish, right? A little stage-y, which in some ways I like, in some ways I don't. I don't always listen to that type of music, so I don't always enjoy it here on the album. But at the same time, like I said before, critically, I can't deny just how well put together it is, just how it grooves, how it moves, the transitions, the spacing, the atmosphere, the layers, the grandiose, the majestic. I can't deny that. And while sometimes I feel like it can be just a little bit melodramatic, I don't feel like it ever loses any of its power. So overall, while I don't necessarily love the album, I definitely enjoyed my listen of it, and it is something that I will come back to and listen on again. Guys, I hope that you enjoyed the album review. Of course, if you haven't, go back and listen to my first reactions and my initial listens of each of the songs on the album. I have some subscriber goals here if you're interested. I hope that you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.